Hello, hello, welcome to Into the Deep. My name is Alexandra Lewandowska. I'm very happy that you are here with us, that you'll be meditating with me. I'm very curious where you're from, so please write in the comments which country, which city you are from. But no matter where you're from, we are all going home today. Of course, it will mean a different thing for each and every one of us. And before we start, a few words about Ignatian meditation. If you've never done it, if you wonder what it is, you don't have to do anything with your hands. Of course, I hope you did wash your hands before. You don't have to sit in any particular position, just sit in a way that will be comfortable for you. And you don't really have to think hard about anything. You'll hear me reading the gospel, then you will hear some soft music, and I will be giving you food for thought every now and again. But if at any point you have some inspiration, some intuition, just follow this thought. Don't mind me, don't listen to me, just listen to what's inside, what's in your depth. Now, before we start off with the meditation, a short instruction on how to do it.
Welcome. You've just dived into the deep, an online community meditating the Ignatian way. If it's the first time you're with us, you will now hear a short explanation of how we meditate together. The meditations start every Sunday at 9 p.m. Before each meditation, there will be a short introduction with the reading of the day. It's also time for you to prepare the place where you'll be meditating.
A very long passage for today, and a very long way for that poor blind man to recover. Perhaps we've all been in such a place where we felt helpless, where we felt dependent on other people, dependent on the directions we can get from them, and we didn't really know where to go. One person says this, so I listen to them. Another person says that, and I listen to them. But I'm far from home, I'm far from my inner self, so I don't really feel that I'm living my own life. And maybe I'm relying on something else, somebody else's opinions. I'm basing my life on some sort of a temple, but on the other hand, I sense that real life is somewhere there and it's calling me. But will I have the courage to take the risk to set off on this road? Let's read together John 9 verses 1 to 41. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus, "but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming, when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, he spat on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." This word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg?" Some claimed that he was. Others said, "No, he only looks like him." But he himself insisted, "I am the man." "How then were your eyes opened?" they asked. He replied, "The man they call Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and then I could see." "Where is this man?" they asked him. "I don't know," he said. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. "He put mud on my eyes," the man replied, "and I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others asked, "How can a sinner perform such signs?" So they were divided. Then they turned again to the blind man. "What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened." The man replied, "He's a prophet." They still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. "Is this your son?" they asked. "Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see?" "We know he's our son," the parents answered, "and we know he was born blind. But how he can see now or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He's of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders, who already had decided that anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, "He is of age. Ask him." A second time they summoned the man who had been blind. "Give glory to God by telling the truth," they said. "We know this man is a sinner." He replied, "Whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know. I was blind, but now I see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered, "I've told you already and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they hurled insults at him and said, "You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from." The man answered, "Now that is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly person who does his will. Nobody has ever heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." To this they replied, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, and when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" "Who is he, sir?" the man asked. "Tell me, so that I may believe in him." Jesus said, "You have now seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you." Then the man said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshipped him. Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind." Some Pharisees who were with him heard him say this and asked, "What? Are we blind too?" Jesus said, "If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin. But now that you claim you can see, your guilt remains." Sit down comfortably. You can close your eyes now. How are you breathing now? Don't try to control anything. Just breathe. What is your body like? Is it relaxed or tense? What's the feeling that dominates your body? Breathe deeply and let that feeling fill your whole body. In your own words, entrust this time to God. Entrust to God all those who are close to your heart. In particular, think of all those who live in fear for their lives, for their relatives, for their jobs. Think about all people who are sick and need help. All the people who cannot move from place to place. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. With your eyes closed, imagine sitting at the temple entrance. Other people are running somewhere, and you are sitting by the temple. You are not moving anywhere. What is the temple you are sitting by? The temple is the place you're holding on to. How long have you been there? What do you rely on in your life? Are you comfortable there? Or do you get used to it and feel no need to move? What is the weather like? Are you cold? Maybe it's scorching hot and you can't stand the heat. The place you're in is very noisy. There are many people around you, but no one really sees you. You don't see anyone either. How do you feel about this? You can hear the steps of people passing by without paying attention to you. They are in a hurry. Suddenly, you hear someone slowing down, stopping right next to you. You feel someone is looking at you. This person is very accepting. He is looking at you with great tenderness too. What's your reaction? Do you accept that someone looks at you like that? Or do you resist it? Suddenly a man spits on the ground, makes some mud and puts it on your eyes. This mud is what you hate about yourself, what you can't stand. What is it? Is there anything in you that you reject? Perhaps it's your vulnerability, your sexuality, anger, tenderness, something else. This man puts in front of your eyes what you reject about yourself, but not to embarrass you. He still looks at you with affectionate acceptance. Even though this mud may seem disgusting, don't try to run away from it. Try to stay with it. Look at it. You may be stuck by the temple. You may be stuck where you are because you are afraid to go home. To your inner self. Maybe you think this house is too dirty and you don't want to look at it. Are you ready to leave the temple, to find your home? The man tells you that in order to regain your sight, you must come back home. He sends you on a mission. He gives you a vision for your life. What is your mission? Where does he send you? To see what your mission is, you wash yourself in a pool. The water is cool and pleasant. It is clear, and what you thought was mud what you were ashamed of, suddenly becomes clean. How do you feel about it? You're going back to that man now. Now you can see him. You see, it's Jesus. He says to you, you don't have to be perfect to move on with your life. You don't need to know everything to get on the road that's going to get you home. Do you believe you can feel secure in your own home? Are you willing to take the risk? If you feel like it, talk to Jesus about the first step you can take to get home, to start realizing this vision that you saw. From the desire of being approved, deliver me, Jesus. From the fear of being ridiculed, deliver me, Jesus. Lord Jesus, meek and humble of heart, hear me. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. You may now open your eyes, but before we say goodbye, let's spend some time reflecting on what happened during this meditation. Maybe you had some image or some word, something that you'd like to take with you. Now it's the time to write it down, so let's spend some 3 minutes on reflections and see you afterwards. And so our first meditation has come to an end. Thank you very much for being there. If that's something you'd like to continue, you can subscribe this channel. And our next meditation will take place next Sunday, 10 p.m. Central European Time. Thanks once again for being there. If you have any comments, any feedback, I'll be very grateful. You can comment under this video. All the best. See you next week, I hope. Take care. Bye-bye.